so many reasons why someone would choose to pump instead of nurse or go to formula. Here are some of the most common ones that I've seen. First, I think this is probably the most common reason, is that I think a lot of moms believe that breast milk is better for their baby, so they will do anything they can to get their milk into that child, even if it involves pumping like 5 times a day at work. I'm not going to get into what's better, milk or formula. I think fed is best and you have to do what's right for your family, but I think that's definitely a driving reason behind a lot of people continuing to pump even though they absolutely hate it. Next, which is kind of like a related reason, which is my personal reason, is around supply. So my son goes to bed at 7 p.m. I then do a last pump of the night at 10 p.m. During the whole day I nurse him. And at that 10 p.m. pump, I am doing that because I am paranoid that if I don't, my supply during the rest of the day will dip. I don't know if that's a valid fear, but it's working for me so far. So I am just doing my best to pump at night, store that milk to varying degrees of success, story for another day. It's, as I said, mainly to know that my supply is consistent and that it's not going to dip by me losing one of my feeds. The last 2 reasons, which I don't think people talk enough about, is first of all the price of formula. I was shooketh when I became a mom and was just out of curiosity walking around stores looking at the price of formula. That shit is expensive. Oh my goodness. I can't tell you how much money I think I'm saving for my family by breastfeeding. The thing is, if you're breastfeeding or pumping, it's a time strain. Formula feeding is definitely more of a financial strain. So there's that reason, which I think is a huge blocker to a lot of moms who would probably love the option of formula feeding because it means that they could leave their baby with their mother or their husband and not have to worry about pumping or worry about breastfeeding at all. But they can't because they think, okay, well that's, however much, $2,000 a year I could spend on rent or on food or fill in the blanks, right? Last reason, which is one that I hadn't even thought of until people mentioned this in a comment in one of my videos, is around the fear of another formula shortage. So I think in 2022, there was a formula shortage I think it was in the US and I think it was global. I could be wrong, but there was a shortage. That must have been terrifying. And I think because of that happening, a lot of moms at least like to have a backup plan so that if they were ever in a situation where formula was no longer available, zombie apocalypse, and they had to run away, they would have that in their back pocket of saying, okay, I know that I can pump, I know that I've got milk, my supply's up. So these, I think, are some of the more common reasons. If you have another reason, drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear other reasons. I think that there's probably an infinite number of unique reasons why people choose to continue to pump even though they hate it. It doesn't change the fact that pumping is in fact the worst. And I am not an exclusive pumper, but for those who are exclusively pumping, you deserve all the best things on earth because it's hard.